Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pitch and bat repair video for you this evening. This is a Williams 1963 Major League pitch and bat machine that we've been working on. We've done tons of videos on it so far. If you didn't see those, this is like the 6th or 7th video in the series, but this is the one where we're going to do the cosmetic stuff. So we've repaired everything on it, or pretty much everything on it. Still waiting on a little bit of stuff, but we're ready to paint it now. So I'm just going to show you the condition that it's in, and then we're not going to stencil it. We're just going to paint it back by hand to the color that we believe it originally was. Basically, this thing has yellowed over time, or you could more accurately say that it's greened over time. I think the paint just darkens up a little bit, and it loses kind of some of its red pigment. So it appears that it's all 4 colors. So there's a base color, there's like a tan color that is the baseball bats and the stripes, and then also the visor of the ball cap. There's black, and then there's orange, and that's it. Just 4 colors. So there's a base coat, a little darker tan, orange, and black. But this is what we're starting with. Now, there's different levels that you can do this. The correct way to do it, the best way to do it, would be to take it all apart, Bondo it up, sand it down, get it down to bare wood, fix all of the places that need a little work, get it smooth, get all the old paint off, make a set of stencils and all that. We're not going to do all that because we just don't have the ability to put that much time into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to sand off some of this loose paint, and then by hand, we're just going to paint in the missing paint. So for instance, this orange, just take a orange paint and paint that back by hand. It won't have the overspray. These were painted by stencil in the factory, and if you look really close, see the overspray on the orange? So it won't look perfect. It won't look like a really nice restoration will, but it'll look a hell of a lot better than this. If this wasn't quite this bad, we would just leave it. But it's so bad, we got to paint it. It's never going to look presentable in this kind of condition. So we've got that. The other thing is, on the base coat, originally there was a splatter paint. So if you look on the inside here, it's painted the same color. See how that looks dirty or whatever? That is the splatter paint from the factory. So they would paint it all one color, and then they would paint this on it. So if you can't tell what that is, they've painted gray paint on it in like a kind of splattered effect. And then there's also like a red painted on there in kind of a splattered effect. There may even be 3 colors, but you can see how dense that is. There's just so much splatter on it. Very hard to replicate that, so we're not going to do that either. We just don't have the ability to do it. The reason that they did that was because it hides flaws in the plywood. So these are built out of plywood, and if you look here, there's a biscuit right in the middle of the plywood. So this was not cabinet grade plywood. This was just cheap plywood that they used because it was just an amusement machine. And it was mainly for kids, so it didn't really have to look, perfect or anything. So if it was all one big color, you would see every little flaw in it, which, you might see after we get done doing this. So they put this splatter effect on it because it's a trick of, it hides any imperfections by giving it a little bit of texture. It plays a little trick on your eyes. Now if you look here, there's a couple more. See the biscuit there and the biscuit there. I guess they're called biscuits. There's another one there. So it's just cheap grade plywood that they were built out of. I'll show you in the back here. Right. It's just how they were built. And this was made in 1963. So this is the shape that it's in when we're starting. And Joey's going to repaint it. We're also going to do all kinds of other cosmetic stuff on it. We've got to clean the playfield still. I've got a replacement plastic piece for this, the home run apron or whatever you call that, home run target plexi. And I've got a reproduction back glass for it. So all of that will make this thing look a heck of a lot nicer. Now the running man unit, the backdrop on it is still in nice shape. We also need to fabricate some little plastic windows for this. Lights shine through there. These have broke over time. And if you put clear ones, you can see the light bulbs. So I'm going to try to see if I can get some white ones that I can cut, or I'm going to see if we can paint them or something so that you can't see it. Whenever you're playing it, if you look at the running man unit, you can actually see a reflection of those two holes. And so you can see the light bulbs the whole time you're playing it, if that's clear. So we don't want it to be clear. There's also one above the running man unit, right there. Somebody mentioned in one of the previous videos, I wonder if they put the wrong size bulbs. I'm sure they did. You know, if they would have put like 10-watt bulbs or something in there, they never would have burnt that, but they probably put a 100-watt bulb in it whenever the bulb burn out, and it just melts that thing up. But time is taking its effect on it too, so it's no big deal though. We can fix it. So that's what we've got to do. We're also going to paint the targets, so they need a little bit of touch-up. But they look pretty good. So I don't know if we'll get all that done in this video, but hey, we can try. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start painting the cabinet. And like I said, we're just going to paint it by hand, and we'll see how that comes out. time to swap this back glass out. Now, the glass that's in it, I'd like to save and try to repair just so I can hang it on the wall and sell it here in my shop, even as deteriorated as it is. So basically the paint is just falling off of it. So I'm trying to keep as most of it from falling off as possible so that there'll be something to save. I can fix it if it stays halfway hanging on there like it is right now. So that's my goal. So the way you're supposed to remove this thing is this other side over here comes off. So this side can come off. So we're going to carefully remove that and then see if I can wiggle the back glass out of there without this big chunk falling off. Hopefully. Well, that came off easily enough, but unfortunately, the top doesn't come off and the bottom doesn't come off. So because of that, the only way for it to come out is to slide out, and the problem is some of that paint is hanging off the back of it far enough that it's going to hit when it comes out. So it's going to peel off some of that. But I really don't have any choice. I'm not going to break the top of the case apart. So we'll see what all it loses. It's going to lose some of this, but we'll just do the best we can and see what we can do. All right, so it lost quite a bit of it. We were able to save some of it, but it is what it is. It was already heavily damaged. I didn't do it. It happened years ago. We just pulled the Band-Aid off. Okay, so here is the back box after removing the little pieces of paint from it. I'm going to go ahead and swap all these light bulbs. Ooh, look, some were burnt out, or not even in there. So I'm going to change all of the light bulbs, and we'll go from there. All right, looks much better with new bulbs. It originally had 44 bulbs in it. We put 47 bulbs in it, which were like 40% dimmer and 40% less wattage. You can't hardly perceive that they're a little bit dimmer, and it cuts down on your heat and all of that. You could put LEDs in it, but I don't like LEDs. So, and then another thing I wanted to point out, this is kind of interesting. We've been repainting the side. I don't know how well you can see it right now, but this is where the trim was, obviously. See the line? So this is the original paint color, and it's very close to the paint color we've put on it. We've significantly lightened it up, but it's pretty much, in my opinion, dead on what the original color was. So I think we accidentally matched that pretty well. Here's how it looks now. This part hasn't been painted. And here's new paint, old paint. Pretty close, really. I mean, it's dead on it, to be honest. We don't have the splatter paint on it, though, like we mentioned. Pretty wild. Okay, well, that worked out good. Okay, so I think we're ready to slide the new back glass in it, if I can find it. I've had that thing for several years, just waiting on the time to work on this thing. But I've got one around here somewhere. Let me find it, and then we'll slide it in here. All right, so that's what it came up looking like. I think it's really nice. As I remember, this is a second we got somewhere. Somebody wasn't happy with the color of the grass or something like that. Personally, I think it all looks great. That's why I bought it, because I knew that I wouldn't mind whatever little minor differences there are. I don't really see anything jumping out at me that's just completely egregious. The art looks like a very nice copy. I would imagine some of the colors are probably slightly off or something, but I mean, you saw what we're working with here. This is much nicer than what we had. Red. The extra inning part is orange, which I think is correct. The outs are red. That's blue. I don't know. It all looks good to me. Certainly good compared to the one that I was messing with. Up here you got the Williams in red and then the 1963 in orange. So I don't know. Maybe some of that's different. You know, some of the things that are orange, maybe they're supposed to be red, and some of the things that are red, maybe they're supposed to be orange. But folks, I think it looks great. Just what the game needed. That's basically what was keeping the game from being savable. That back glass was just in really bad shape. I was hoping that I could save it. I hate replacing them. I'd rather just fix the old one. You've seen me paint like a freaking 50 of them. But that one was so far gone, it's just wasn't anything you could really do. We are still going to clear it and hang it up on the wall, though, which we'll do on this video, so you'll see it. But yeah, let me turn off the lights so we can see what it looks like in the dark. Beautiful. And keep in mind, we haven't worked on the lights in the bottom part yet. We'll put new bulbs in there, and that will change how that looks. I don't even know what types are on there. You can see the match numbers at the top, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You may have been able to see that on the original glass too, I'm not sure. It lights up evenly. Just looks great. I've had a lot of people tell me that sometimes you need an LED on these to make it a little brighter, but I like it how it looks. I think it looks great. Very nice. Yeah, I think that really helped it, and I just love how it... I love on this game, it has nothing to do with the reproduction of back glass, but I love on this game how they've shadow boxed kind of the down there. I want to... We're going to put some different covers on these bulbs down here on the playfield. I don't know how that will change how they light up, but that may change how that looks too, you know. So we'll see. Yeah, I think that really saved the game. That just makes it look so much better. So this is how we save it. I have sprayed triple thick all over it. Crystal clear glaze. This is for pottery. It's basically very thick. It's like a thick clear coating. So I've sprayed the crap out of it. And then all of the paint that's lifting, I have put saran wrap over. And then you can, now I can touch the saran wrap because the paint's on the other side. And you can press down the paint. Now most of this is in the place that it's supposed to be anyway. Look at this. You can kind of press it down where it goes. I didn't get the saran wrap perfectly flat, so that doesn't help. Look folks, we're doing the best we can. But you can press it down, get it as flat as you can, and then put something heavy on it while that paint dries. And it will dry with that stuck in it, like it's in a, like super glue basically. After it dries, once it's completely dry, you'll just be able to peel the saran wrap off, and all of the paint will be stuck to the back glass. It's not going to look perfect, but it'll look better than it does. And it will ensure that the rest of it doesn't fall off. I got to work on it for a minute though. Alright, so here in our store, I have hung that back glass up on the wall here. We have a green wall, so it'll hide a bunch of the missing paint. And it looks kind of cool there. So someone will walk in one of these days and they'll want that for their game room and they'll buy it. This is right by our football marquee that we've had all this time that was gifted to us. It's still hanging on the wall. And then we have a Birdie King golf marquee hanging there too. So we have golf, football, and baseball. It all makes sense. Perfect. All right, back to the game. Okay, folks, so it's time to swap this plastic piece, which is freaking ugly. Oh, it looks horrible. Someone was saying that I should put LEDs so that the new bulbs don't do that. Look, a bulb didn't do this. For it to be this bad off, it was probably stored outside where the heat did it from the sun. Which would explain the whole cabinet having bad paint and the back glass being destroyed and all that. It was probably in a shed or under a carport or something like that for a long time, and the heat, you know, with the glass here, it kind of makes like a greenhouse effect, and it'll do stuff like that. So that would be my guess, but no, light bulbs didn't do it. There would be a light bulb here and here, and they're kind of in the wrong spot even because the bulbs don't quite line up. Something like this could be a light bulb, but I don't even think that because there's no bulb there. This is like, it got cooked. It got baked, as Shango would say. It's been baked. All right, so I've got a brand new one that they made. It's a reproduction. The only trouble is going to be getting the screws in the right spot because there's no holes on the new one. So let me take these screws off and take this one off, and we can finally get rid of it. Okay, so here is the replacement reproduction piece that goes on it. Unfortunately, these were made by hand. A gentleman was restoring one, and he made these by hand, and he made a bunch of extra ones that you could buy. It's the only way you could get them. It's got a couple problems, though. One, it was made with water slide decals, so they have shrunk slightly over the years. I've had this about 4 years, and so there is a line around the decals, and unfortunately, it's not even straight because it was all made by hand. So you can see that line. I don't know if you can. Yeah, see, we're gonna be able to see light through it. So I'm going to have to try to paint the back of that white and see if we can get that where you can't see it as much. Right, and then the other thing is the chute part. I think it's supposed to go in the chute, but it won't. It's slightly the wrong size. So because of that, this won't lay flat. Like this is supposed to be about like that. I guess you could force it. I don't know. So it's a little loose, but I'm just going to put screws on the edges to hold it in place. It's nobody else makes these, so it's really your only option unless you made one better yourself, which is not easy. That's why this one isn't perfect. So I'm thankful that it's available at all. Without it, this machine wouldn't really. It would look like crap. You know, I'd have to rig something up with a piece of plexiglass or something. So it looks pretty good. It's pretty nice, but it's not quite right. That's, to be honest though, most reproduction parts, that's kind of what you end up with. Whenever people completely redo a machine and put every reproduction part that they make on it, usually you can tell just by looking at it that it ain't quite right. It's kind of like how we painted it here. It's not quite right. Like that looks right. This doesn't quite look right because it's a little, we don't have the splatter paint right? So that's just how things are. But that's cool. So I'm going to find some screws, and I'm going to mark kind of where the screw holes are, and then drill some little holes in the plexi or the plastic and put it on. Okay, so I repainted the white on the back over the lines. That has cleaned that up. Drilled a couple little holes where my screw holes are already in the wood. So we'll let that dry a little bit. Now we need to paint on the targets a little bit. So here are the targets up close. This is what we're starting with. Like to clean that up a little bit. And you can see that the way the ball swings, the bat swings, just like in a real baseball game, most of the hits are going to right field. Do I have that correct? Yeah, that's right. I haven't played baseball in a long time. So you got a whole bunch of them that are singles, outs, doubles. You can see there's less as it goes along. And then the triple's kind of hard to hit because there's a ramp in front of it. And then the double, the same way. It would have to cross over the ramp to hit the double. Right? But it kind of can hit the out. But it's kind of hard to hit the single because if you're a little bit too far this way, it'll bounce off the wall and hit the out. So you can just see what the natural wear pattern is of it over the years. You could repaint all of the green on this and make it look pretty good. I may end up doing that, but if I can get a green that's close enough, I'll just touch up the line across there. But it would be easy to just paint the whole green part. Right. And that would be most of it. The white, well, it'll look good if we can get like some off-white on there too. How is that wet? Oh, that's oil from when I oiled it. Need that off of there. And of course the black would be easy to put back. Alright, so let me see if I've got a green anywhere near that or if I just need to repaint all of the green. Festive green was pretty close, but it wasn't close enough, so I just repainted the whole thing. So it's still real wet and sloppy, but I think it's going to dry pretty flat and look pretty good. And of course I have to trim it out and do some of the white still. So that's the first little bit. We'll let that dry for a while. Okay, so the green is dried, and I used a little bit of buttermilk, light buttermilk, to touch up the out and the single and the bottom of the double. Slightly different color. But if you look at the ones over here, they faded a little bit from the wear, and there's a slightly different color. It's very similar to the slightly different color over here, so I think it all looks pretty decent. All right, so now I'm going to take a black acrylic paint pen and draw the black lines back in just to make it all kind of come together a little bit. Touch that up a little bit by hand, and that should make it look very presentable, and then we'll put some clear coat on it to protect it. Okay, so this is the kind of acrylic paint pens we use. Uni makes them. They're called Posca. They're really cool. They're an Italian company, but it has Japanese ink in it. No, I got that all wrong. They're a French company, but they have Japanese ink in them. In my never-ending quest to not buy China, and they're pretty high quality. So they're acrylic. So I use acrylic paints because it makes it easier to clear coat. If you just take like a rattle can clear coat, you can clear things that are acrylic paint without the paint running. If you take a rattle can Rust-Oleum or Krylon clear coat and spray paint over oil-based paint, sometimes the catalyst in the spray paint interacts with it, makes it run and get all drippy and look like bad mascara. So you don't want to do that. So I use acrylic, and then I clear coat over it. So I'm going to spray some rattle can clear coat over it, and that should protect it. Now, somebody was asking what the little stand-up men on the base running unit are made out of. It's like a card board, but like a true board made out of card. So like a really thick cardboard. So if you look, if I get close to it, you can see it's not paper, it's cardboard. You might call it masonite board. So I think these will look pretty good once cleared, and they don't look perfect, but that's fine with me. Nothing I ever do looks perfect. So I'm completely fine with them having a little wear to them, and if you look close enough, you can tell that somebody's touched them up. So that's fine with me. Okay, so that's it with the new plastic installed and with the targets painted and clear coated. I think it looks really good. It'll look better once we plug it back in and get the lights on too, but came out pretty good. I didn't put any screws on the bottom because, again, that thing is kind of sticking out too far. Just the way it's made, it doesn't quite fit down in that chute. I looked at the pictures of the gentleman. He did this awesome restoration of his, and I think he had the same thing going on with his. Maybe that's just how it was originally, or how the one that he had to copy was. It's not perfect, but like I said, it's much better than I could do trying to make it my own, and it's the only one available. So at the moment, that's the best that we have for it. And it's not that different from the original one that I've got laying around here. You might be able to... Well, I don't want to mess with it. I'm just going to leave it exactly how it is. And I think the targets look really good. You know, you're looking at them from a distance. And to me, that's about as good as I could possibly get it. I think that looks a heck of a lot better. But you saw it up close, so you know that they're not perfect. But yeah, looks great. Okay, on to the next thing. So one of the next things is, it's viewer mail time. Now, if you would like to send us viewer mail, this is our address. Joe's Classic Video Games, 139 Caldwell Street, Rock Hill, South Carolina, 29730. I'm Ronnie, Joey's Joey. Look at this. It's from the great 51st state of Canada. Canada has sent us a card. I hope y'all don't take that too seriously. Come, people... It's supposed to be funny. This is from Murray in Canada, Alberta. That's Alberta, Canada, as far as I know. I haven't been up to our 51st state yet, but one of these days I will make it up there. It says, "Peace is always beautiful, Walt Whitman." The place where my house is, Murray, is called Walden-on-Carmel. Obviously named after the great Walt Whitman. And it says, "Ron, Joe, and Donnie, thank you all for another great year of YouTube content. May the peace and beauty of the season be yours throughout the year. Best wishes for the new year. Take care, Murray from Canada. Well, thank you, Murray. I appreciate that, and we will hang on to your letter as a gift from our good friend Murray from Canada. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that. I would send you a card, but it's already past Christmas. But thank you for your card. We appreciate the sentiment, and we appreciate you thinking of us. Here, it's at the beginning of the year now, but here as the new year starts. So thank you. We really appreciate that. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program. All right, so we're going to clean up the playfield a little bit, but one of the things I wanted to address was this bat is a little bit it's too far forward. Of course, we're upside down right now, but it's kind of like all the way across the plate, which I thought looked a little weird. It's supposed to be down a little more, kind of even with that third baseline there. So it should be, this end should be way back here. So if you look at the unit, this piece here is the shaft going up through it. And so it rotates. That is the piece rotating the bat. And so the reason that it's like that is because they've got this stop adjusted too far down. It needs to go farther up that way, which would allow this to travel more, which would make the bat rest farther down. So I'm going to try to loosen that and move it up this track here. I can't tell if that's wear or that's how it's designed or what. I guess that's how it's designed. You wouldn't. I don't see how it could wear like that, but they've got it too far this way. So we need to move this back, which will allow this to go out more, which will actually lower the bat. Okay, so by adjusting that down the track a little bit and tightening it back up, I was able to get it to line up pretty good. So I think that'll be good, and it still has a nice arc, but of course that's going to completely change how it plays too. But that's much better. It makes more sense. Before it seemed weird. So we may actually have to turn the bat power down again. But we'll play it a little bit and make sure. But yeah, that was kind of nagging me, so I like that a lot better. Okay, so I think next up is we're going to clean the playfield. So I'm just going to wipe it down. I'm not going to go crazy with the magic eraser because this has a nice sheen to it, and I don't want to sand any of it. So we're going to go. I'm not going to touch anything up. We're just going to clean it up a little bit, and then I'm going to wax it and get it to look as nice as possible. We need to clean the bat, of course, and then up here there's a little bit of hardware. We need to clean up that area, get that post out of there, put a new ring on it, and then we can put new balls in it, and it'll be ready to play. I'm going to leave these. They're a little dirty, but they have a nice wear to them. You know, I'm not too worried about making this all look brand new or anything, even if I had the skill to do it. You know. Now, you may be wondering why there's these holes here. These originally had the playfield screwed down in them, and a lot of pinball machines actually did way back. And so the screws are actually still in it. But these were mounted here, and the reason for that is it just makes it play more consistent and stuff if everything's nice and solid. I saw an interview with Steve Ritchie one time where he was saying that at the factory he used to, whenever he was designing a game, sometimes he would just screw the playfield down and it played better. So, you know, he would know more about it than me. But since we're always under there messing with something, I'm going to leave all that out. It makes it easier to get under the playfield. I don't know that it would change it too much on a pitching bat, but that's what they're there for. So yeah, we're going to clean it a little bit, make it look a little better, and we'll go from there. All right, I cleaned it up, waxed it, made it actually shinier, of course. So that's cool. And that's the only ring on the whole game, so nice and new. So the playfield is pretty much done. We've still got to watch light bulbs to make sure that the sockets are clean enough and things like that. We still have to do these little plastic pieces that shield the bulbs and new bulbs. And then the same above the running man unit. So I think the next thing that we're going to do though is we have to add the bells back in. So one of the bells is still in there but doesn't work. The knocker has been removed and the other bell has been removed. So we're going to add all that back in. So with the running man removed, you can see what's going on. We have a 5-inch bell there. And it looks like, let me see if I can get down in here. One of the wires is plugged in and one isn't, so I should be able to just plug that back in. So that's obviously that one. Now, the other ones, these new ones that I've got, don't have Jones plugs on the coils. So I'm going to have to just solder the wires like they are in most machines. But that's okay. So for whatever reason, they took them out and then taped up the plugs. So that should make the 5-inch bell work, and I don't see any reason that they took it apart. There we go. All right, so these two I'm going to guess and go to the knocker, but we'll look on the schematics if we can tell what color that wire is. Right, and then over here, all of the black ones are going to be the same. That's the power feed. The bells are just shorted to the power. Right. And this should be our last one, likely for the small bell. Right, and those should mount on the wall there. Maybe the bell was there and the knocker was there. That would be my guess, or maybe I'm backwards. No, I think I'm right. So the knocker's there. It's a little taller. And the bell was here. Okay, so I ordered those from Pinball Resource. Let me show you what I got. All right, folks, so this is what we got. Now, keep in mind, the Pinball Resource makes stuff for Gottlieb pinball machines, but they, of course, a lot of the stuff is similar in Williams and stuff, so this is what's available. I need to check that coil. They acted like they were going to put the right coils on it for me. I'm going to check to see if that's compatible with what we've got. And this one. Right, so this is what our small coil is going to sound like. I love it. And this is what our knocker is going to sound like. I don't know, is that, I guess it's louder whenever it's like actually putting itself in. Ain't that loud, but I'm sure it'll make a knocking sound. Okay, so we got to figure out how to mount these. I'm going to look up these coils to make sure that they'll run off of the voltage that we're using, which I think is 24 volts. Okay, so I looked them up. This one is actually the correct, exact coil that would have been in it originally. So that's exactly how it's supposed to be. This one is not. It's the Gottlieb one, but the Gottlieb games, I looked it up, run off of 25 volts, and the Williams games run off of 24 volts. So it's, if it's good enough for the goose, it's good enough for the gander, folks. So if Gottlieb is fine running this coil as their knocker, Williams was running the exact same voltage, it ought to do just as well in Williams. Now, some of you people that really got your stuff together might be able to hear the difference between the Williams knocker and the Gottlieb knocker, because they probably used a slightly different coil, but I'm quite okay with using this one in there. All right, so now I need to find a picture or something. All right, I think I can do it from the schematics by the wiring color, like I said, of the wire that goes to the lug to tell which one's here and which one's there. All right, people, we gave it its heart back. So it's got its small bell, it's got its knocker all wired up, and it's got its big bell. I just removed the Jones plugs. If you don't know how these work, if you heat up basically they stuck the wire
in this pin and then just filled it up with solder. So they heat it up, and so if you heat it up, heat the solder back up and pull the wire out, it goes the other way too. And another thing, these are not actually called Jones plugs. We refer to them as Jones plugs, but they're really a Jones-like plug. They're not actually Jones plugs. These are just connectors that Williams themselves made. If you look at the ones that Gottlieb made, they're slightly different, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's not really Jones plugs, which were named after the guy that invented the Jones plug. All right, so I'm going to put the Running Man unit back in, and hopefully that stuff works, and I don't have to go digging back in there again. But they're all plugged in, so it should be fine. And what else do we have? We have to put the little plastic window in, and the two in the front, but I don't have that in yet. And I was going to put some Varathane or something on here to make that look a little better. And there was something else. What was the last thing? I got something else I'm supposed to still do, but we're getting there. Okay, folks, we've gone about as far as we can go on it. So here's how the art came out. Remember, you just saw us paint it by hand, so the finish underneath it is not in perfect shape. It's not perfectly smooth. You could do a much better job if you sanded it and used filler on it, and you could do it all the way, but it would take a lot of work, more than I'm willing or maybe even capable of doing, for a machine that at the end of the day we have to sell, and it's going to just increase the price even more than it already is. But I think it came out pretty nice, all things considered. It's still got things carved in it and everything. But I like it. I think it looks much more presentable. Love that Running Man unit. We're still waiting on the couple pieces of frosted plastic that go above that and back here where the lights are. But I put a little lacquer on the wood trim there. Made it look a lot better, I think. And boy, it looks nice in the dark, doesn't it? Such a cool game. Now, it's really fast. It's hard for me to play with one hand. Let me go get the tripod, and I'll set it up so we can play it a little bit. And you can hear the bells. I forgot you haven't heard those yet, have you? All right, so that might be a good vantage point because you can see the runs, the outs. You can see the little men run the bases, and you will see the targets get hit, too. And you might see, if I get lucky, I might knock it up the ramp into the hopper there. She's quick. Whoo, she's quick. Extra inning when lit. I would love to get that. Oh, that'd be so cool to get that on video. Missed it. And it hit the out. Come on now. Oh, it's still on it. Ooh, I wonder if you get an out, it doesn't move the wheel, so it doesn't turn that off. Ooh, interesting. Too early. Come on, ramp. It was, you realize how close that was. I hit that. If I would have been over just a little bit, wham, probably would have worked. Oh, you heard the bells. So the ding, the light one is the hit. You've got a hit, and the louder one is that you've got a run. Ooh, look! So I get a redo. Extra inning when lit. I would love to get that. I already did it on one of the videos, but I think I faked it, didn't I? I just threw the ball in. Nope. Now, you don't have to wait for the ball to come all the way back, but the thing is, you can hear the pitching unit working, and it helps you time the swing.
So I'll show you. The next time I miss one, I'll pitch another ball before that one gets where it's going, so you can see. Or sort of like what? See? So you can pitch more than one if you miss it. Now you may have not even saw that I missed that. Oh, I might 19 to beat. Okay. Ooh! Barely missed the ramp. We may have even went over the ramp a little bit on that one. That's how it got up in the air. Oh, too early. Extra inning, win lit. Nope. Now, if it had that slow ball, it would be even harder because you'd have to time it just right, you know, because you wouldn't know what's coming, the slow ball or the fastball. But I know that the fastball is coming each time. Okay, we got 13 runs, only one out. I might actually make it. Got a guy on second, and his extra inning win lit. Nope, there's my out. Oh no. Oop, barely. Oh, I got a triple. Cool. All right. I'd love to beat that score to beat so we can hear a knocker. I haven't heard it yet. I'd love to get an extra inning too, though, you know. Oh, come on. Oh, I had it. I had it. It popped back out. It hit something and popped back out. Oh, there's my out. Oh, come on. Come on. I was robbed. Okay, we'll play one more game. Then now I got to get 26. Come on, that ain't going to happen. We'll go faster this time. Triple. Single. Oh, is it out? Too quick. Too quick. Out again. Oh no. I've noticed if you speed it up and play faster, you make many more mistakes. Because like I said, you can't time it without hearing the motor. A little too early. Oh, just like that. I only got 4 runs that time. All right, so what a cool game. What a cool game. I think it looks great, too. Beautiful. So I'm going to put it here in my store, and if someone wants to purchase it, they can come purchase it. But if not, I'll just keep it for a while. Look, I've got a spot for it right there. It can be right there, and then I can play it whenever I want. What do you think about that? So I'm happy to get that fixed. It was in our front window next door for a long time, just sitting there all dilapidated like it looked at the beginning of this series, if you didn't see that. But it's cool that we were able to get it going again. So I'm very happy with it. If I ever find the stuff to make it the slow pitch work, I'll put that in there. But it's unobtainium. I've been trying to obtain it, and I have been unable to obtain it. People have mentioned, oh, you could make it. You could, but there's a bracket that holds it in place, the coil in place, and then there's another bracket that holds the front of the coil in place. Those could probably be rigged up. I looked around. I couldn't find anything similar on other things except that pitching unit. But the problem is there's a special little lever that interacts with another lever that, in my opinion, would have to be pretty precise to make that brake work right on the side of that pitching unit, and I don't have the ability to create that myself. So that's that. So I hope you enjoyed it, people. This is Williams' 1963 Major League. Now, if you've been with us this whole ride, we did a whole other one time. That was the year before this. Before this, Williams' 1962 World Series. So there was one that had been kind of hacked up because they had it at the beach making money. And they had taken out like the thing that counted the innings and the thing that counted the strike. I think there were strikes. And things like that. So they had completely manipulated the thing, and it was in much worse shape than this one. But we did an entire playlist of that. So if you want to see that, I'll put it up right here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you on the next one.